and make those embers glow. I'm on my way, and I don't skip a beat. I can't help it, I've got happy feet. So good, I do what I want and it's understood. There's no stopping me when I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. I'm on fire. I'm feeling glad there's a spark in my soul. Feel my heart go zing. I'm clapping my hands and I'm pulling these strings. No stopping me when I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. I'ma do me. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm on fire. Yes, I am. I'ma do me. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. Oh, you know what I mean. Oh, I'm on. Yes, I am. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire. I'ma do me. I got happy feet. You know what I mean. I got happy feet. I'm on fire. I feel good. I feel good right now. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire. I'ma do me.
Can't nobody hold me down. I'm steady walking like I got 3 commas in my bank account. Living loud, so get your cameras out. I'll probably do the same thing if I was you. Looking at me now, now. Put up your lights and keep them flashing. Don't ever put them down, down, down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Good God, I'm looking sweet. Right now I'm feeling like a slice of heaven, and you wanna stick your teeth in me. And the way that I move my feet, it's like I got this whole world spinning round to the rhythm of my heartbeat. Put up your lights and keep them flashing. Don't ever put them down, down, down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I feel so good. I feel so money. I feel so good. I feel so money. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I feel so good. I feel so money. Look at me now. So good. I feel so money. Look at
and you don't seem to notice I'm not here. I'm just a mirror. You check your complexion to find your reflections all alone. I had to go. Can't you hear me? I'm not coming home. Do you understand? I've changed my plans, 'cause I'm in love with my future. Can't wait to meet her. And I'm in love, but not with anybody else. Just wanna get to know myself. I know supposedly I'm lonely now. No, I'm supposed to be unhappy without someone, but aren't I someone? You're so handsome, but I know better than to drive you home. 'Cause you'd invite me in, and I'd be yours again. But I'm in love with my future, and you don't know her. And I'm in love, but not with anybody here. I'll see you in a couple years.
It's been a little while since I've looked in your eyes and walked that bridge to the other side. Mama says it's gonna get cold in the night, but if I picture you, then I'll be alright. I am ready. I am ready for you to be here. It's been a little while since I held your hand, so my arms won't stretch to your distant lands. Give me every person in the whole wide world, and I'll pick you out in a second, girl. I am ready. I am ready for you to be here. For you.
right. Okay. Welcome to Late Night Coffee Show, episode 15. Can you believe it? It's already 15 episode. Some of you guys were asking how long I can keep this up. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Hope everybody's doing good. If you can hear me okay, just give it a shout out. Okay, please give it a shout out. Right. Can everybody hear me all right? I'm just going to assume that everybody can hear okay. All right. A lot of you guys are joining from everywhere. All right. Now, tonight, if you want, for those who are live attending tonight, if you want, shout out, okay? And I will give a verification code at the end of the session for one AGD CE approval, okay? So what you need to do is if you want to gain the CE point, after you get the verification code after the session and you just shout out, and I need to screen capture, and I can send that to Grace, and what you want to do is you want to email Angela at info@biceinstitute.com with the verification code that I sent you tonight. Okay, then Grace will send you guys the certificate of attendance for that by email. So it's approval for one AGD CE point. Okay, so in case you guys need the CE point, that's what we're going to do. Okay, great suggestion, Dr. Sangwoo-ham. So many of you, we got 17 of you. Okay, 17 of you. That's great. Okay, good evening, everybody. Paul, Glenn, and Peter. I think Peter, you are from Toronto. So shout out. So how does shout out work? Put your full name, Mark Kwon, comma, Vancouver, comma, okay, Canada or US. All right. So your name and the city. Okay, great. Excellent. Michael from Nanaimo, thanks for joining. Hey Tan, how you doing? Okay, Kelvin from Vancouver, and June and Sangwoo and Glenn. All right. Okay, thanks guys. Okay, we have a very interesting topic today, don't we? Okay, and we also have a special guest tonight as well. So first time I'm doing an interview format on the live format. So that'll be interesting too. Hope my internet holds up. Okay. All right. So tonight's topic is this, right? Is this. Okay, let's go picture in picture, right? How to find the right implant system for you. Very interesting topic, isn't it? Okay, and sometimes it can be a little bit personal topic too, because everybody likes to believe that whatever they're using right now is the best implant system, right? Whether it's true or not, nobody knows, because different omelet for different people, right? Okay, so I think Glenn, somebody suggested, was it Peter? Post up what's your current implant system that you're using, right? So I think I just saw somebody using Hyosun, somebody using Zimmer, Biomed, Bicon, Implant Direct, Nobel. Are you serious, Anis? You're using this many implant system, right? My question will be why, right? Okay. Tan Nguyen using Hyosun since 2010, okay, and some Megagen. Of course, many of you who were trained by me and Vice Institute be familiar with the Nobel and Hyosun because we were their key institute training for many number of years, right? So post that up and that'll be very interesting to know. Okay, so how to find the right implant system for you. That's our tonight's topic. Okay, we just finished the sold out module 2. Dr. Bernard Jin and Dr. Chris Lee led that today module, and it was online format, not because initially we decided that way, but became that way because in Canada we're still a little behind the vaccination and everything. So a lot of it is still a strict rule of a social distancing. So a lot of the hotel do not provide food or venue for us to hold a large group of continuing education formats. So that's we did it. The online format at Vice Institute, and it was a great turnout. Great turnout. So, those of you haven't joined our online study club monthly session or interested in our online format, right? If you are far away, please, email Angela, and she'll keep you guys posted with the most recent upcoming events on your email. Okay. All right. What did I do today? Okay. And every week I try to update you on some of a little bit of my personal affair because I don't want you guys just to think of me as an implant dentist that does implant every day and teaches implant. Because before I'm a dentist, I'm a father and I'm a husband, right? Today was a bit of a significant event. This morning we had to return our beloved Honda Odyssey minivan. 3 years ago, I leased this Honda from Open Road Honda on Kingsway because my daughter was born and my wife needed something easier to haul around. Not only my daughter and car seats, but we also have two older boys, right? And my older boys are 20 and 18 now, right? And also have a dog, Benjamin, and of course my mother-in-law who also helps Ginny raise our daughter. Now my daughter is 4 years old and we kind of grown out of a minivan, so we're returning it and we're contemplating what car to get. Okay, I told my wife we'll give ourselves 1 week to decide what vehicle that we should purchase. So if you guys have any suggestion, okay, leave some comments on the post section, okay? I'll give a consideration. Bernard is trying to convince me to buy a Tesla because he bought a Tesla for himself and also ordered one for his lovely wife, Karen. Model Y, I think, Model Y. I heard that there's a 7-seater, so I'm seriously considering that as well. Okay, so if those guys who are driving Tesla, let me know what your what you think of it is. It has been really good as they say? Okay, we'll see, right? Okay, all right. Ooh, Kia Sorento or Carnival. I heard a lot of good things about that too. Okay, all right. Okay, and what else did I do? After we returned the car, we went to our weekly favorite spot, Deep Cove. We went to the Japanese restaurant Osaka. We ordered some lovely dish, and I took some photo with my camera, Sony. Some of you are asking, what camera setup that I have for my photography and my videography. I'm a Sony lover. I used to be Canon. I kind of almost switched over to Sony because it has a really good function, both photography and videography, right? So I took all these shots with Sony and Tamron a wide zoom lens. And of course, my daughter, okay, she's really the joy of my life right now, and my lovely wife. And having a great day every Sunday. Okay. Another interesting thing happened when I got home. When I got home, we saw this strange dog, right? Homeless dog running around in my yard, front yard, and wouldn't go away. Wouldn't go away. We didn't never seen this dog before, and we were walking around and knocking on people's door, whether it's their dog, and nobody knew about it. So after about a half an hour of trying to figure out who the owner is, we decided to call SPCA, and right before SPA come, one of the truck driver came in and then claimed that it was his dog. And the story was that they adopted this dog, this homeless dog, about 2 months ago, but this dog, lovely dog. This dog is still not settled down in a new home yet. So every time the gate opens, he jumps out and he just wanders around everywhere, right? So that was the situation, right? So it's good that he found his owner again. So that was all good. So today's topic. Okay. Let me see right here. As we've done more sinus lifts, I've decreased the use of Bicon. As we've increased immediate placement, decreased implant direct, mostly no active. Yeah, that's exactly so. Okay. Well, I decided to make a little bit of a side movie tribute. And this is the movie that I've really enjoyed in 1983. I remember I visited Canada in 1982. Temporarily, I lived in Vancouver because my dad was assigned from South Korea, one of the Korean Electric Power Corporation, and we got assigned to Vancouver. I didn't even know where Canada was back then. And then we were trying to settle in. He was stationed for 3 years Vancouver before we go back to Korea, whichever eventually we did, and then we came back again. But in 1983, there was this movie that took by the storm. I don't know if Glenn probably remembered this movie. Many of you guys are too young to remember this. Okay, this is before you guys were born. Okay. The starring role was Dennis Quaid. And in 1983, the movie was called The Right Step. It's about the astronauts, okay? It's kind of a long, boring movie in some way, because at that time, I hated that movie because I couldn't understand a single word of their English, right? But when later on, my English got better and watched it again during my college years, I really, really enjoyed it, right? So the search for the right stuff, right? So, dental implants, okay? Dental implants. I'll tell a little bit about my history, okay? My history. And dental implants that I've started when I first graduated dental school, right? Who said that? Okay, who said that? Who's old here? Glenn. Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of the doctors, I don't even know how old they are, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna assume that a lot of them are young doctors, right? So, okay, Glenn, you and I were similar age, so. Okay, so dental implant. I'll tell a little bit of my story. In 1997, when I first graduated dental school, I placed my very first implant 3 months out of school, right? 3 months out of school. And there's a backstory why I rushed into dental implant, okay? I didn't really start a dental implant as a hobby. I started it as means of reconciliation. Right, so someday I'll talk about that later too. But I started with the implant system, and like many, you choose the implant system that you were taught with, right? And at that time, my mentor at that time, who taught me briefly about implant system, was a prosthodontist, and he was using endopores, okay, endopore system. And a lot of you don't know what endopore system is. It was one of the very few made in Canada dental implant back then. It was researched heavily in University of Toronto, right? It has all the research backing and everything, and it turned out to be, at least for me, one of the worst implant experience that I ever had. I've had close to 20% failure rate, okay? 20% failure rate of this implants, and had a really, really bad time with it. And I placed about 500 of these, okay, placed enough, okay. And in 1998, briefly, I dabbled on Stereos implant system. A lot of you guys don't probably remember Stereos implant. It was an American implant. It was from what my understanding is, one of the very first widely accepted at that time tapered design implant. Well, you're going to say, well, Mark, are most of the implants nowadays taper? Yeah, nowadays it is, but back then, most of the implants were cylinder, parallel implant, okay, like a Brendemark implant, right? So Stereos was a tapered implant, and it had an external hex connection. So a lot of people don't remember that. What happened was, in 1998, I briefly dabbled on it, and I couldn't purchase it anymore because they discontinued manufacturing Stereos implant. Why is that? Because they were bought out by an implant giant called Nobel Biocare, because they start to see an American company, Stereos implant, taper implant, taking over the market significant enough. So what did they do? Instead of competing, they bought it out. And they bought it out, discontinued manufacturing this wonderful implant system that I really, really enjoyed. And what they did, they changed the connection from external hex to internal trilobe, and they start calling that Nobel Trilobe Replace. Okay, so that's how the story goes. Okay, so that's 1998. Interesting, huh? A little bit of history behind that. 2001, I start using BioHorizon. Okay, right? Okay, an oral surgeon friend of mine had 60% failure. Okay, yeah, 6% is a lot. I think he might be exaggerating. Okay, but it's a lot of significant enough to that company got a lawsuit. Right, one of my parents' friend. He sued that company for $20,000 in damage, and then later he won. The company actually paid my friend $20,000 in lawsuit, right? And then he ended up donating that money to Red Cross because he didn't sue the company for money. He sued it to make a point, right? So in 2001, BioHorizon, I used the BioHorizon. Why did I start using BioHorizon in 2001? Because that's when I took my first Misch Institute program, right? The great Dr. Carl Misch, right? And he was an advocate of grade 5 allo implant and external hex system. So that system was, back then, Maestro, because Dr. Carl Misch himself was a maestro, right? Get it? Okay. They did have an internal hex connection too called the Prodigy, but Dr. Carl Misch was advocate of external hex because he was concerned about the thin wall, and he didn't like he didn't like the idea of internal hex connection. Back then the thread didn't go all the way to the top because the thinness of the wall. So that's a biomechanic concept of Dr. Carl Misch, BioHorizon, Maestro. That's what I started. And in 2003, I jumped ship to Nobel Biocare. Why? Because they were the first implant company that was willing to sponsor my very first implant course that was running. So my very first Bice Institute implant residency program for 10 doctors, 10 general dentists, was sponsored by Nobel Biocare. Okay? Because back then, they were very reluctant to be associated with general dentists who were placing implants, right? Because back then you gotta understand it was a specialist game, right? Periodontist, prosthodontist, not even prosthodontist, periodontist and oral surgeon. A lot of oral surgeons were placing them, right? Of course, a lot of things have changed over the last 2 decades in Canada, but back then. But Nobel Biocare gave me a chance to run the residency program in Vancouver, and of course, that was a stepping stone to train a lot of you guys, who've been trained by me, and I start training a lot of general dentists, and I start to teach cadaver courses, GBR, sinus courses, and prosthetics and all that, and that was the turning point of me being a key opinion leader for one of the largest implant company in the world, right? So I stayed with Nobel for a long time, right? Yeah, Amen. Yeah, hi, Amen. Yeah, he graduated 2006. Yeah, is that right? 2006, eh? Yeah. And at that time, that's why those doctors who I trained, at that time, everybody was using Nobel Replace, right? The trilobe. And it was at that time the most widely sold connection implant system in the world, right? In the world. And that continued on for a long time until 2009, almost 2009, 2010. Hyosin came to Canada, and Hyosin was not a recognized implant company, not at all, right? They were giving away implants for free, and doctors were not using it because Asian, made in Asia, had this stigma of probably a poor quality. Because what you guys have to understand at that time is that, before Implant Direct and all this, Implant Direct was before 2009, but Implant Direct had a different approach. They had an implant that was a knockoff of same quality, but a knockoff at a lower price. So they were stealing those clients away from Nobel and Zimmer and things like that. But Hyosin had their own design of the body, own surface and all this, and they were trying to brand itself, and it didn't really work well. But what triggered me to start using Hyosin was not their implant system, but it was a casket, a revolutionary crystal sinus approach kit that made me dabbled into a Hyosin world, right? Casket, because I needed a easy system for me to train young doctors to lift sinus. Because back then, me and Dr. Jin were teaching them how to use a hammer and osteotome, right? Hammer the mallet, right? Very barbaric. So that's how I started, and then I started to use their implant, and I liked it. Actually, I liked it quite a lot. So for a lot of the doctors at that time, they thought I was downgrading my implant system, right? But me and Dr. Jin, we were looking at the features of the implant, and we found out that it had a lot more better feature than the Nobel Trilobe system that we were using at that time. So we resigned from Nobel Biocare as a key opinion leader, and then we jumped ship to Hyosin. And from 2009 to 2016, we were heavily involved with Hyacinth. We taught all around the country, Toronto, Manitoba, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Prince George, you name it. It was like a traveling circus, right? We were like almost like a 50 weekends a year. We're traveling nationally and internationally and training doctors, general dentists, how to do implants, PRF, sinus lifting, GBR, you name it, right? That's what we did, right? And then 2016, something happened. Bison Institute and Hyosin, we start to get into some political issues, right? Hyosin started to run their own courses, and we became a overnight competition to against each other, Bison Institute and Hyosin. So we didn't feel comfortable, using their implant and all that situation. So we were basically without sponsor for a while. So we were dabbling on by Horizon again, and then Straumann, and then also other implant system like Korean brands, EBI, Dentium, and SIS implant systems, right? And what happened was after that 2017, we decided on MegaGen implant. This was the very first implant system that we chose, not based on the implant fixture. Okay, yeah, we didn't. When me and Dr. Jin, we decided to choose an implant system because it's a big change. Because at that time now we're already doing well over 1,000 implants a year, and we wanted to choose an implant system that we can stick by for long term. So it's a big decision. It's a big decision, right? And the reason we chose MegaGen was not necessarily based on the merit of just the fixture, but it was merit on their the whole approach, their philosophy of the company. So before I decided to help MegaGen come to Canada, because the company didn't exist in Canada, and Canada is a very difficult market to break into for any implant company, and because you need a education wing to do that. And so I met Dr. PKB, the president of the CEO of MegaGen Korea. I met him when he was in the States. I met with my faculty, and I had a lengthy conversation over the dinner what his philosophy is. And one thing that I really liked is his philosophy was all about immediate loading, same day. Their philosophy is that someday people can get final crown in the same day or next day. That's their philosophy. And that's why they put a lot of research and innovation into their surface treatment, their thread design, but more importantly, the digital. I was very impressed with their guide software, the R2 system, and really the R2 was the turning point in decision making for me to choose MegaGen. Okay, and of course at this present time, what do I use? My main product lineup is MegaGen. MegaGen makes up for about, I would say, 85% of my everyday implant placement is MegaGen, followed by Hyosin implant. I still use their 3.2 diameter implant. I think Hyosin's best lineup implant is their 3.2. 3.2 is incredible implant. And I think their 3.5 is their worst, okay, because I broke so many of them. Still dabble on BioHorizon a little bit, okay. Especially patients who are a heavy grinder, I use a BioHorizon because of grade 5. And I use Straumann implants time to time, but rarely, okay, right? So some of you were asking, why don't you use more implant system? Why don't you just diversify so that I can get more referral from various dentists, right? Okay, just I know some surgeons said, oh, you know what, I'll place what you want me to place. Okay, I get a phone call and say, Mark, I want to send you a implant patient. I restore like 100 implants every year, and I don't want to do surgery anymore. Can you place Straumann implants for me? That's what I like to restore. And my answer is no. Okay, because I do not let my referring dentist dictate what implant that I place. I dictate what implant I'm going to place, and they're going to restore it. There's no question about it. If they don't have a drivers, okay, to torque it down, I'll buy one for them. Okay, I'll give it away, right? Because a surgeon should have a right to choose the best implant diameter the design, the connection for that particular patient. The reason is, even if I stop using Endopore, even if I stop using Serios, even if I stop using BioHorizon and all these things, guess what I have to do? Inventory. I still have to carry inventory for Endopore because these patients come back, they have to get a crown redone, right? The screw breaks or something. I gotta have inventory. Stereo, same thing. Even though I place less than 100 of these, I still have to carry their impression copings, their prosthetic components, right? Because they do come after 20 years. BioHorizon, same thing. Maestro implant, I don't place it anymore, but I still have to keep them, right? Those impression copings. Nova Biocare, same thing. Hyosin, Megagen, okay? That's why when a lot of the implant company come to us and they say, oh, you know what? I'll give you free implants for you to try, free 50 implants. I say no, because it's not just implants. I gotta purchase their prosthetic, impression coping, all these things, right? So for me, it's very, very tough decision when I have to actually switch over a system, because we do almost like 1,500 implants every year, okay? And place like 10 to 15 implants every day, and switching things like that, it's just going to drive my prosthetic team crazy. They're going to kill me, right? Okay, so that's the situation, right? And of course, Straumann, right? So before I go into any further lecture, I want to introduce you to special guest of the night tonight. Any question up to so far? Okay, right? I know Dr. Thomas Han, of course. Yeah, Thomas Han is a mentor of Dr. Park Kwang-bom. He's a periodontist. He's a legend. Okay, yeah. What are the difference between R2 versus One Guide? I think I did an episode on the differences. One Guide from Hyosin is probably the easiest guide system for you to use. Okay, easiest, right? R2 is not the easiest, but I believe that R2 is the most accurate. Okay, so depending on what you are thinking to do, because if you want to incorporate more daily, easy guide system to use, I think One Guide it might work out just fine for you. And if you're using any one implant system, you can literally use a One Guide and still place any one implant. Okay, within limit, right, parameters. But R2, I chose R2 because it's, in my opinion, out of all the guide systems I used, it's the most accurate. That thing is just incredible, right? So anyways, okay, so let me go into special guest section, and guess what? Special guest right here. Let me go. Oh, no, you're gonna go to the back. Okay, go back to here. And what do I need to go here? I need my face here. There you go. All right. Okay, so we have a new guest here, and there you go. Can you hear me, June? Can you talk? Okay, you have muted yourself. You gotta unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Can everybody hear?
Everybody hear me?
Can everybody hear? If you can hear.
You're good?
All right, say something, okay? Say something, buddy. You guys can hear?
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Good?
Hello. We are good?
I can hear you, but I don't know if these guys can hear. We're just gonna have to wait and see if they can hear. Okay, you know what? Let me just.
Okay.
Yeah, they can hear. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Awesome. So what I'm going to do across the screen, I'm going to give him a kiss. See, we've been practicing that. Oh goodness. Okay. All right. Okay. So hopefully the internet will hold up. Okay. The reason I invited June, right? Is because I've known June for quite a while, and actually I've known June even before June became a sales rep for implant companies, right? Because I was his patient, right? I also treated his mom and dad and all his two other brothers since I was in general dentistry. That's when I was doing root canals and I was doing like general dentistry, right? Okay, long time ago, okay? And before most of you guys were born, okay? So it's good to see June, and also June Um, he is one of the most non-biased person. He's not your average sales rep. Okay, some of you already June's client, but I wanted to introduce June. So June, no further ado,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining tonight. I know you just put your kids to bed and having some time. I know you're working tomorrow, but I'm not going to take too much of your time. But just give us a little bit of introduction of yourself, could you?
Yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kwon, and thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure. And just a little bit about me is I'm a happily married man, and I have lovely wife and two daughters. They are 13 and 10 years this year. And you're not gonna believe this, but I was a banker before I become a sales rep. I was banker for 14 years,
Really?
and yes, and I study and graduate with accounting. And my
Oh,
goal was to become a CA or CPA.
I
And
didn't know that.
anyways, this is my sixth year for implant dentistry as a sales rep.
Mm.
And I love my job every day. I love to see my doctors, and I especially thanks to Min because he brought me here. Where am I now? Hmm.
What? I mean, that's a big change in profession, though. From working at a bank, which might be considered more
Yeah.
stable job. What made you decide go into a sales? Because the sales is a bit of a risky profession, right? What made you?
Yes. Oh, because for 14 years, just think about it. You are looking at the monitor and you are fighting with numbers and interest rate, right?
Mm.
And that was enough for me. And I was looking for some kind of advanced level and excitement, right?
And dentists give you
Because
those
all day long
excitements?
I was just sitting in the chair and talking myself with monitor.
Here, Ammon, I think, do you remember Dr. Ammon Buller? He's in the States right now. Okay, he's saying
Oh,
hello. So yeah,
hi,
he's
Dr. Buller.
yeah. Okay, so
Yes.
excellent. So if you guys know June, okay, say hello, and then I'll post that up as well. Okay.
Mm.
So June, I'm curious, right?
Yes.
What do implant sales rep
Mhm.
really do? Like a lot of us think that they just stay in their car drinking coffee, looking at their phone, and when they get the sales and then sell your implant and make a ton of money on a profit. Because people think that
Right.
implants it costs like a $10 to make, and you guys sell it for like $500. It's like a 1,000 profit margin. It's an easy money. You guys be racking in
Oh
millions every year.
no. I don't think so.
No, I know it's not true.
Well,
It's not
actually,
true. I know that, but these guys don't know that, right? Okay, so tell me, I
uh-huh.
know you guys work extremely hard, right? Extremely hard. So what does your day look like? What does your week look like? Okay.
Mm. Okay. Let me put it this way. My job is very simple, and it's not it's not about sales. It's about all about the support. Because and I hope my boss is not watching this,
Mm,
but and I have to give a little credit to Min because
mm,
he told me this that I have to be my doctor's side, not the company side.
mm, mm,
So I have to listen well, and so that I can make a suggestion for the best solution.
mm, mm, mm.
Right?
Because obviously, like
And
a lot of the clients that you are supporting are general dentists, and significant number
yes,
of them might be new to the implant game, right? Okay, because
yes,
the fact of the matter is that guys like me, I don't really need support, right? I mean, I've been doing this for so long. I can pick up any implant system and implement it. I mean, I
hmm,
still enjoy talking about implant and philosophy and all that stuff, but it's not an easy job because you guys are spending 80% of your time supporting these dentists who might not be the big clients for you, right? Because a majority of
yes,
because when I see your schedule, every time I call you, so you're at a dentist office training their staff, helping to how to put their sterilization together, how to clean their
hmm,
instruments, how not to lose things. And sometimes this dentist wants you. I know some dentists. I'm not gonna say exactly who they are, but I know who they are. If you're watching this, right? Okay, they'll only do implant if you are there, their office. They're not even gonna take out an implant unless you are there. Okay, for them, you are a source of confidence. Okay, I don't know why that should be, but that's the reality, right? So obviously they trust you in your knowledge. Okay, that you've done so much of a study too, and I know whenever I run courses, you're there all the time, even though you listen to the same lecture multiple times, so you're taking notes, right? So I thought that was very impressive. And yeah, so guys like like June and some of these rep are more than just making sales, more than just making sales. Other something else that I wanted to ask you is like because I don't really get to you know to know other dentists like how you get to know them, because you're with them, you spend more time than a lot of the doctors I train, right? And you'll notice that some dentists, they excel more than others, right? Like a same dentist that who graduated 10 years ago from my course, some excel faster than the other. And how do you, first of all, why do you think that is? Okay, why do you think that is? And second is, like, do you find that there's something that these high fast learners doing something different than the rest of them, right? Okay, do you notice any differences?
Wow, that's really good question, but I think you know the answer already, better than me.
I don't know. I assume the
think
answer. you know.
I think it's not really important that which implant system they are using, but for the doctor, specialist dentist, it's all about the communication and share and education. And I think education is very important. Only education is the way to communicate, to share, and help each other to step up, like a BICE Institute and LSS, especially LSS.
You mean the Life Surgery Study Club, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 I don't know if Glenn is still there, Glenn. I always give a credit of the birth of LSS, which we started about 6 years ago. Give the credit to Dr. Glenn Van Ness and Dr. Bernard Jin. It was their vision. They're the reason why we started Life Surgery Study Club. And in my opinion, it's not our biggest course that we run. The biggest course that we run every year is obviously a 12-day comprehensive implant residency program. We get sold out every year. But if I were to be darn honest, is bang for buck and pound for pound, the best learning experience happens at our monthly Life Surgery Study Club. However, the irony is that in order to join our LSS Life Surgery Study Club, you have to have preferably finished our 12-day courses. So it's a support, ongoing continuing education, and I find that those doctors who take our LSS really step up their implant game, help them make them a comprehensive implant dentist, right? So I agree as well. Okay, what do you think the future of the implant dentistry will be from your perspective, right? What's coming down the pipeline, June? What excites you?
Oh, let's see. I think digital. Digital is the future. So
Like digital, like can you elaborate on that a bit more? Yeah, like a digital, like a guided surgery, or is it like a digital, like a designing aspect of it, or are you talking about the whole ecosystem of digital?
so probably if you are choosing any implant system, then it's just like you said, it's heavily involved with digitalized.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
That's the most ideal implant system
yeah.
you are looking for.
So what's happening more specifically? What's Megagen cooking up, under their sleeves? What's happening? What's exciting stuff, right? What's the next big thing
Oh,
from Megagen?
then I'd like to introduce our new lineup for implant. It's called a blue diamond implant.
He's gonna sell some stuff to me now. Okay, all right,
아,
bring it on, make it
내가
interesting.
네.
There you go. Okay, he's gonna put it to sales mode. Okay, blue
Yeah.
diamond. Okay, blue diamond.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, talk about blue diamond because a lot of the dentists don't know about it. Okay, tell me a little bit about blue diamond because it's one system I'm contemplating possibly actually make a big jump to. Right. Tell the audience a
Yes.
little bit about blue diamond in the next few minutes.
Okay. Blue diamond is like a combination of our enrich system and Stroman BLT system. It's good benefits from each system. Is blue diamond, and it's cold work implant, so it's very close to rock solid implant. But most important thing is you should know is that the fixture design is also important. So strength wise, it's almost same as rock solid, but body structure of design of the implant is blue diamond is much better.
So there's no actual
And
diamond inside the implant,
oh no, sorry,
and I'm assuming it's
but it's
blue.
cold work.
It's
Yes.
cold worked. Okay.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to load up a blue diamond picture here. There you go. Here's, I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay. Yeah, right there. So the blue diamond, right? So the blue diamond. Oh, I don't want to subscribe to magazine newsletter. Sorry. Okay. So blue, I'm assuming it's because of the surface coating is blue. Okay. So those of you guys who don't know about why the blue coating, because of the calcium. Okay. Calcium coating, and blue marks the purity of the dual surface treated surface. It's very similar to Strawman dual treated surface, sandblasted and acid etch, and you can only do that with, right, grade 4 commercially pure grade titanium. You cannot do it with an alloy, right? You cannot do alloy because alloy is too strong. Okay, yeah. And alloy also contains a vanadium, which is, possibly toxicity. So they can only do with a commercially pure grade titanium CPT grade 4. And the problem with the grade 4 has always been the strength issue, right? The wall gets too thin, they break and things like that. So the rock solid, they have a zirconia, I think, particle as a part of their mixture. But what the Megagen has done is instead of changing and putting things into their makeup of an implant, instead of turning it into an alloy, they kept the purity of it, but what they did was cold work that. So cold working, from what I know, is that it can increase up to 30 to 35% of overall strength. So in a nutshell, what you're saying is that, June, it has a less chance of a breakage, right? Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so that's that's the situation, right? And the connection is a Strawman connection, right?
Octa connection.
Octa connection.
It has 30, 20, 15, 15,
Yeah.
20 degree internal
Yeah.
octa connection.
Okay, octa connect 15, 15, and so I'm interested in 15 because I'm using 11 degree on both sides. That gives a 22 degree. But when I'm doing a multiple
right.
unit implant prosthetic, I want to go fixture level, and possibly this can give
Yes.
me a better draw without having to
Yes.
use a multi-unit abutment. That's what I'm thinking, right? I'm not thinking about the fixture necessarily. I'm thinking about the prosthetic aspect of it, right? Okay,
That's
so
right.
that's interesting. I'm gonna have to do a little more research on it. It's just the hell to change the system and change all the impression coping and everything. That's the problem, right? So you think this
Yes.
is going to replace a lot of our existing implant lineup, right? Okay, Sangus have a really good question. Okay, right? Any ridge octa? I don't, I don't use any ridge, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that gonna work out. No, it's not a paid promotion. Okay, I don't get any money. Okay, I don't get any
No.
money. Yeah. Anyways, hold on a second. Let me yeah. Okay. So June, thank you so much for joining tonight. Okay, and
Thank you, Dr. Kwon.
yeah, thank you very much. And it's good to have input from not necessarily from a dentist perspective, because June, he sees dentists all the time and everything, and a lot of his clients still don't use Megagen. They still call him when they do surgery, okay, and he still goes, okay, right, okay. A lot of Hyosin doctors, right, because you built a really good relationship, right, and I really respect that, right, because sometimes, guys, it's not the arrow, but it's the archer, and the archer sometimes need somebody who can look at the target with you, and I like to consider that person June. Okay, so June, thank you so much, okay, for joining us tonight. Okay, I hope
Thank
to
you.
see you soon. Okay, you take
Yes.
care. Okay, All right. I'll
Alright,
talk to you
thank
soon then.
you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let me go back right here now. Okay. All right. Okay. So it was nice to have June join. Okay. So what I'm going to do for the next about few minutes or so is we're going to go and look at some things. Okay. Look at some things. All right. Let me go right here. Okay. All right. So I pulled out some of the things that okay. All right. Okay, try out hesitant to who's using MegaGen? I'm curious, who's using MegaGen? Right? Oh, okay. Blue Dime is a new name of any region Octa 1. Okay. Hey Patrick. Yeah. Also, you're using any MegaGen, any ridge, right, Patrick? You're using any ridge. Any ridge is the flagship, really. That's what sells the most in Europe, right? And I do believe that biomechanically, any ridge is, from a thread perspective and the stability, is superior to the one that I'm using right now, which is any one. But their Morse taper is very tight and it's a little bit tricky to use. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I believe it's an octa. So what it means is that if you have an older impression coping from Strawman, you can use that to take impression when you place the, the octa implant, which is a blue diamond. It's a new name for Enridge octa, right? Okay, so let me talk a little bit about my implant system that I was using. Okay, this was my implant system early on, right? This was the implant system, Endopore external hex, this one right here. Okay, you know why I chose this implant? Besides my mentor said it was the greatest Canadian implant that was made when I first graduated in dental school in 1997. Okay, number one, because he was using it, I thought whatever he's using, I'm learning from him, so it must be good. So I used it. And another reason why I used it is because they were targeting new dentists like myself. There's short crestal ridge available and it's close to the nerve. We're scared to death hitting the nerve or hitting the sinus, because at that time people would think that if you hit the sinus, the patient's gonna die, right? Okay. They scare you so much. So they were selling 5mm length implant and 7mm length implant, 9mm length implant. Their tallest implant of Endopore was 12mm only. So what their selling point is that you don't need to lift sinuses, okay? You don't need to do GBR. You can use a short implant, and they have a lot of beads. No thread, just the beads. And this theoretic surface area is so big that you don't need to use a longer implant. Later turned out to be a bullshit, okay? Because I lost so many. And every time I get a failure, I call the rep. I say, why am I losing this bone and I'm losing this implant failing? Because Dr. Kwon, you don't have enough experience yet. You just have to place more. Okay, I thought it was me. Okay, and probably it's true. Probably some was my inexperience and not knowing how to place implant as well. But start to see implants failing over the next 5-6 years. The failing rate was horrendous. And when there's a failure, infection is so hard to salvage because of the thread. There's no thread, it's a bead. So once the microorganism gets in there, there's no way to really salvage it. You have to pull it out. And it's not easy to pull out because you cannot reverse it out. You cannot reverse it. You got to try to find these out, right? That was my Endopore system, right? And then, of course, did a BioHorizon. Okay, let's look at their implant lineup. What has changed in BioHorizon? Any of you guys use a BioHorizon? Okay, BioHorizon, they moved away from external hex system. They still sell it, but they're not marketing it. So, like everybody else, what their marketing new lineups are tapered, right? Aggressive thread with a self-cutting edge, right? Okay, and internal connection. Most of them internal hex connection, right? And platform shifting, right? Now, what does BioHorizon try to do is that their surface is they call it like a lock. What is that? Laser lock surface? Okay. What does that mean? Laser lock. Are they carved with the laser, right? The surface is made with a laser shooting. Okay, it's basically a variation of RBM, resorbable blasted media, means a fancy name for sandblasting, right? So sandblasting, right? Because they cannot do acid etching because they have a vanadium and aluminum as a part of alloy a component, right? So they can only roughen it by sandblasting, right? So in if you get, I don't want to go technical, but their bone to implant contact volume is less than that of a Strawman. Strawman is the innovator of a dual surface treatment, which is acid etch and sandblasting and then acid etching, right? So internal connection, internal hex connection, not necessarily a conical connection. They don't go that deep, I don't think. Okay. And then what's up with the Hyosyn these days, right? Okay. Hyosyn is one of the very few websites where you go in and you see more than just implant. They talk about their dental chairs, they talk about implant, they talk about their surgical kit, they also sell biomaterials, and they heavily promote their upcoming courses. Dr. Salama coming to 2021 in Toronto and Vancouver. They run their basic courses, okay? And what is this one here? Millions annual revenue. What does that mean? Okay, global business, $5,000. Okay, 34%, $40,000 trained. So they run a lot of courses. I think they're probably the only manufacturer that have their own courses, which of course directly relates to their implant sales, right? I think they're very smart in that way because it's hard to sell something without teaching them something, right? Okay. What's happening over here? Okay. The question is, all right. Okay. All right, so much inventory change. Dr. Jebri, US are you located? Okay, Sango, all the new implants look like anyways. Yeah, they start to have a really similar looking, aren't they? Right? They start to look very similar to aggressive threading. And taper. That's because they're gearing towards, okay, like any other company, immediate loading. That's the future, right? That's the present and the future, right? So that's now Nobel Active. This was something interesting. I was looking at it today before I was logging to a coffee show. They have this new surface called the Thai Ultra. So what it does is they've done their normal Thionite, but as you move towards the apex, their porosity increases, gets more rougher. And on the top, it's supposed to be smoother. So I think it's their effort to prevent peri-implantitis. Less bacteria can actually trap into the top part because that's where the marginal bone losses happen. So I think this is their new type of surface coating. Okay, so that's the Nobel. But other than that, nothing really changed that much. The shape of the implant, the surface treatment is largely unchanged, right? Because I used to use a lot of Nobel Active. And by the way, Nobel, they don't really make new things themselves. They just purchase it from somebody else. Like a Nobel Trilobe replaced was the Stereos implant. And Nobel Active, the design was Alpha Bio from Israeli company, right? So that's the Nobel Biocare. Let's look at the Megagen implant. Okay, what's happening with the Megagen? Okay, that's Annie Ridge. Okay, and their guide system R2, amazing. I like it. Okay, they are trying to sell what is this? They sell their chairs, dental chairs. Okay, a lot of this Korean company, they're selling more than just implant because implant has a limited there's a stiff competition. You can only sell so much implants, so they're trying to sell you an ecosystem, right? Okay. And Strawman, what's going on with the Strawman? I know what's going on with the Strawman. This is what's going on with the Strawman. Okay. Strawman is one of the very rare implant company that actually goes into an area where a lot of other implant don't go into. And one of that is the zirconium implant, right? Okay, they call it ceramic implant, but it's not ceramic, right? Okay, it's a zirconia, right? And they are pushing that pretty hard. Okay, any of you guys using zirconia implant, right? Okay, let me know. Okay, if ever, because I haven't used it, and I've had about patient in the last 1 year asking if I can place a zirconium implant for them. Obviously, I said no, right? But I don't want to be, limited mind. Okay, if it works just as well as others, only thing that I'm not worried about that zirconia implant don't integrate, because the research show that they do integrate pretty predictably. For me, is a long-term complication. When I'm saying that long-term complication is it's going to fail later on. For example, if the implant has a fracture or I need to remove it, I don't know how easily those zirconium implant I can retrieve. Okay, because I'm very comfortable removing pretty much any types of implant by reversing them out. But a zirconium implant, because I think they're going to fracture more than the titanium implant. So I mean, I could be wrong. Okay, so if you guys any of you guys have any experience with those white zirconium implant, okay, let me know how your experience was. Okay, all right. Okay, what else is here? Okay, new tab, Megagen. That was a blue diamond implant. Okay. I started to use some of their deep thread, anyone deep thread implant, and I like it. Very good initial stability. Right. So let's talk about this right here. Okay. All right. So the question becomes this, right? The question becomes this, right? I think when I look at all this website today, I was going through it. They're all trying to make something similar, right? But at the same time, distinguish a little bit. But the problem is this, right? A lot of the implants has been copied ever since like a Nobel and Straumann. Their surfaces and their design has expired in a patent. A lot of the knockout companies start to exist, and what we come to realize that doesn't matter how cheap the implants are, most of them will integrate. Not because the implant is that special, but because of biology know how to heal around these implants, right? It's not us, it's the body, right? So the manufacturer has this challenge where how do they distinguish themselves from another company? It's not like making a car, right? That you can upgrade every year, and our dentists, we expect the automobiles to improve each time the cycle of a new car comes up, right? Better engine, more fuel efficient, faster, more horsepower, more, But implant is not like that. It's just a screw, right? There's only so much they can do with the screw, right? That's why June says, I agree with them, is that there's only so much you can do to innovate the implant itself, right? Besides Straumann, the zirconium implant. I think they're putting a lot of their egg in that basket. When I talked to the vice president of the Straumann a couple years ago, when they were just about to launch it, only time will tell. Only time will tell. But I put this slide up here. Is it really the arrow or the archer, right? When I was a younger surgeon, I thought it was the arrow. I thought that by using a more higher premium brand of implant, my success rate is going to go up. Of course, those implant company want to make you believe that that's the case. But the reality is, it's not the arrow, it's the archer, right? Like, me and my wife, what we like to do during the weekend is we like to cook together. Like yesterday, for the first time that we made a homemade chicken pot pie, because, I got so depressed. Last year, we went to the restaurant, right? And then go to our favorite family restaurant, White Spot, and I like to order my chicken pot pie, and they start making it, right? They start making it, so I got depressed, and my wife said, let's make it our own, and we made our very first homemade chicken pot pie. We follow the recipe and the direction down to the T, okay, from a YouTube, right? And we made it, and it actually looked pretty good, right? We did the whole thing. But did it taste as good as I was hoping? Absolutely not, okay? Absolutely not. So recipe does not make the chicken pot pie. It's the person who's making it, right? So I thought, that's very similar to what we do, right? So implant, categorization in a nutshell. This is a slide directly out of my module 1 on the slide, okay? We have a bone level, we have a tissue level, We have a parallel implant, we have a tapered implant, we have an internal connection, we have an external connection, and within the internal connection, we have a trilobe, square lobe, or the octalobe, or the hexa, or I like mention like an octa, right? And external hex connection, there's only hex, right? And within the internal connection and in that lineup, in that branch, we have a plug-in and we have a butt margin, or we have a conical connection, or another subcategory of Morse taper connection. And of course, every company want to make a platform shifting, because unlike a lot of design that come and go, okay, as the time passes, platform shifting is here to stay. And I read a lot of books and I read a lot of articles in the past, and some articles don't hold up today that it held up 20 years ago. Okay, so I don't believe everything that says on the article or in the textbook, right? Because those are only true to that time. But one book that I've read that I think the theory is going to hold up for the present and the future is going to be the concept of zero bone loss concept by Tomas Linkovicius. He's the one that he didn't invent the concept, but he put it together, okay, into a form of a concept that people can digest it easier, right? We always kind of knew the importance of soft tissue and the depth of the implant and how it's going to play, but that book really spells it out, okay, why we lose bone in those situations and how we should surgically place the implant and prosthetically design it to prevent further bone losses, because that's one thing that scares a lot of young surgeon and young doctor is the bone loss around the implant, isn't it, right? Periimplantitis, right? So I highly recommend that book. Really, the moral of the story tonight is not to tell you what implant to use, okay, but what you're looking for, right? We also talked about some of the on the Facebook about Straumann tissue level implant. It's still a very good implant, guys. This thing works. Very low failure. These tissue level implant that I placed, there's zero a micro gap. It just does not exist. Okay. However, it's not an easy implant to place. Your depth control has to be exact, and these implants are not made for immediate loading, right? These Straumann implants. Okay. Now there's other variations from other companies like Hyosung that have a similar connection, supra gingivally, but the subgingival in the bone more aggressive for immediate loading cases. But these are not really a beginner's implant, right? Okay. A lot of implants are going for taper. So those of you who are watching this who are looking for a beginner friendly implant, I would highly recommend tapered implant. Whatever the brand that you choose, go for tapered. I really don't think there's much advantage to going parallel implant anymore, especially now that the thread design and surface area macroscopically and microscopically is so good, okay? Because the trend, eventually, it doesn't matter what level you're in right now, you're going to aim for immediate, okay? One surgery. Immediate molar, immediate anterior, immediate full arches, because if we can achieve it and if we can predictably do it without sacrificing long-term result, why not? Okay, no patient come to me and ask, Dr. Kwon, I'll pay you more money, give me multiple surgery. Nobody does that, right? Yeah, I mean that's the in a nutshell. So implant that I use is not really an advanced level implant. In fact, it's quite a beginner level implant, isn't it? When you look at it, it's a conical connection. It's on hex. It's easy to take impression with. There's nothing really special about it. It's got threads, not a lot, not too little, just the right amount, right? It's tapered. It does enough job to give me a good, decent immediate loading. Not like an any ridge, not like a blue diamond, okay, and not like Straumann BLX or whatever that is, right? A very aggressive thread, but I can modify my osteotomy to prepare the site so that I can get predictable stability in majority of the cases, okay? And I like the dual surface design, right? As sandblasted acid etch, because that has been shown by a lot of the Straumann studies. It's been around for a long time, one of the most predictable surface to do it. The downside, however, we have to recognize as well. I like conical connection for these reasons, but one of the major downside conical connection is prone to fracture. Okay, I think cold work, increasing 30%, I think that significantly increases the strength of the wall. But if you are looking for the ultimate strength, nothing beats grade 5 alloy. Nothing beats grade 5 alloy. So again, it's rock, paper, scissor, in my opinion. So you gotta look at it, right? Okay. For me, my decision making is I like to do full arches. It has to be digitally driven. It has to be a very good guided system, right? So magazine implant, is what I've chosen. But within that, I need something that is enough easy to draw. And their widest range of before Blue Diamond was 11 degree per side, which gives me 22 conical taper connection, right? Which has no micro gap. And variety of choice for prosthetic, and it has a connection that is shared by different diameters, whether it's from 3.5 all the way to their 7.0 diameter implant. Their connection is the same because it streamlines the inventory. I don't know if that's what you want, okay, but it helps me to keep the cost down for my inventory without sacrificing the result, okay, hopefully, right? So these are the things that I gone through to look at it, right? So you can leave your comments and questions, okay? Like I said, I'm going to give you a verification code, so write this down. The verification code for tonight for 1 free CE AGD is going to be, I'm going to write it right here. It is LCS Ep15, okay, bytes, capital, okay, right there. LCS Ep15 bytes capital. And you need to email attention to Grace, right, with this verification code so that they can email you 1 CE AGD approved. And you must shout out, okay, shout out, because I need to screen capture that and then send it to Grace so that there's a proof of attendance with this one right here, because I'm going to leave this video for 24 hours, but those people who are watching afterward, they're not going to get a CE point. So you guys, thanks for spending time having coffee with me and hang out, and hopefully it was something that was enjoyable and you learned something, right? And a little bit of a glimpse into if you're looking for some system, right? Doesn't matter what system you use, at the end it's not the arrow, it's the archer. Always remember that. Okay, all right, so you guys take care. Thanks for spending time with me. Stay healthy. I hope you guys see you soon. Okay, take care. Bye bye.